Every morning before the sun touched the sky, the mistress of Blackthorn Manor walked to the old courtyard with the same servant following silently behind her. The townspeople whispered about it for months, but none of them knew the truth. Until one day, something happened that changed everything. Blackthorn Manor stood on the eastern hill like a watchful guardian, its ancient stone walls holding more secrets than the villagers ever dared to imagine. Lady Evalora Blackthorn, the last member of the powerful Blackthorn bloodline, was known for two things: her cold silence and her unnatural morning routine. Every day before the roosters crowed, she left her chambers and stepped into the cold mist that covered the courtyard. And every day, a single servant followed behind her: Jonas, a young man who had arrived at the manor only a year ago. Nobody knew where he came from, and Jonas himself never spoke unless spoken to. The villagers had endless theories. Maybe they're performing forbidden magic. Maybe she's training him for something. Maybe the boy is cursed. But the truth was far stranger than any rumor. That morning began like all the others. The sky was still dark, painted only by a thin silver line at the horizon. Lady Evalora walked with purpose, her long black cloak brushing across the stone path. Jonas followed exactly 3 steps behind, never closer, never farther. He carried a wooden box wrapped in iron bands. No one in the manor except the mistress had ever seen what was inside. When they reached the courtyard, Evalora stood before the ancient sundial, a massive stone disc older than the manor itself. Runes carved into its surface glowed faintly whenever the first light of morning approached. Jonas placed the wooden box beside her, bowed quietly, and stepped back. Evalora's voice broke the silence. "Today, the light will reveal more."
Jonas didn't know what she meant, and she didn't explain. She never explained. Every morning, he watched her open the box, do something, and then close it again before the rest of the manor awoke. He had seen nothing, learned nothing, understood nothing. But this morning, something felt different. Evalora rested her hand on the lid of the box. The air around them changed. The breeze stopped. The shadows froze. Even the birds fell silent. Jonas felt a strange pressure in his chest, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Then, thud, the sundial shifted. Jonas jumped. The stone disc, which had never moved in recorded history, rotated slightly towards the rising sun, raising a deep, echoing vibration that ran through the ground. Evalora's eyes widened, not in fear, but in recognition. "It has begun," she whispered. Jonas felt something warm on his wrist. When he looked down, a faint symbol, glowing gold, appeared beneath his skin. He gasped, trying to rub it off, but the mark pulsed like it was alive. Evalora turned to him with a look he had never seen on her face before, a mix of shock and relief. "You were chosen," she said softly. "Chosen for what?" Jonas asked, trembling. She didn't answer. Instead, she pushed the box towards him. "Open it." Jonas froze. He had carried that box every morning, but he had never been allowed to touch what was inside. His hands shook as he reached for the lid. The moment he lifted it, a flash of white light burst out. The courtyard stones cracked beneath them, and Jonas fell to his knees, gasping for air as visions flooded his mind. Visions of fire, visions of a broken kingdom, visions of a name he had forgotten long ago. Evalora grabbed his shoulders. "Remember, Jonas, the past is waking, and so are you." And for the first time, Jonas understood. This morning ritual was not a ritual at all. It was a warning, a countdown, and the world had just run out of time. If you want to uncover what Jonas saw inside the box, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and comment below. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what happens next, because the real story is only beginning. The moment Jonas lifted the box, a blinding light shot out and visions flooded his mind. But what he saw inside wasn't just strange, it was dangerous. And Lady Evalora's secret, far bigger than he ever imagined. The courtyard was still glowing faintly from the light that burst from the box, yet the sun had barely risen. Jonas's knees were scraped from falling, but he didn't care. His mind was spinning, each vision from the box replaying in vivid detail. A shattered castle, a hidden chamber, and a symbol carved into stone that pulsed with a strange energy. Evalora knelt beside him, her hand steadying his trembling arms. "Focus, Jonas," she said quietly. "The visions are not a curse, they are instructions." Jonas shook his head. "Instructions? I don't understand. Why me? I'm just a servant. I've done nothing." Evalora's eyes softened, but there was a sharp edge to her tone. "You have done enough. Enough to survive. Enough to be here. The box chose you because you can see what others cannot." Jonas stared at the wooden box. The iron bands shimmered in the early light, and he realized the box seemed alive. Tiny runes along the edges were glowing faintly, almost as if they were responding to his heartbeat. "What's inside it? Why does it show me all this?" he whispered. Evalora stood and glanced around, as if expecting someone to be watching. "The box is calling others," she said, her voice tense. "Not everyone wants it protected. Someone is aware of its existence. If they find it first, we will not have the chance to stop them."
Jonas swallowed hard. Every vision, every pulse of light from the box, every symbol he saw, it suddenly made sense. This was no ordinary object. It was a key, a weapon, and somehow it had chosen him. Evalora reached out and placed her hand over his. "You will learn its power, Jonas, and you will learn to control it. But first, you must understand what is at stake. The shard we hold is only the beginning. Others will come for it, and the first attack could be today." Jonas looked down at the box again. Its glowing runes seemed to call to him, almost like they were alive. Fear and excitement surged together. He had no idea what the future held, but he knew one thing for certain. From this morning on, nothing would ever be normal again. Evalora glanced at the horizon, her expression unreadable. "Rest tonight if you can. Tomorrow, we begin the true training. And Jonas, be ready. The world outside these walls is already shifting, and it's coming for us." Jonas felt his chest tighten. He looked at the box, then back at Evalora. He wanted to ask 100 questions, but he had no time. The box had chosen him, and the journey had only just begun. If you're curious what happens when Jonas begins his training, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and comment below. Subscribe to the channel now because we will reveal the first secret of the box, and you won't believe what happens next. Jonas had survived the visions, and the box had chosen him as its guardian. But training with Lady Evalora was only the beginning. Today the box would test him, and what it revealed would shock them both. The next morning, the air in Blackthorn Manor was colder than usual. Mist clung to the cobblestone paths like a pale ghost, curling around the corners of the estate. Jonas followed Lady Evalora silently, the box under his arm. He had barely slept. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw fragments from the visions, crumbling towers, shadowy figures, and the mysterious voice whispering in a language he didn't understand. "You're ready," Evalora said, her tone calm but firm. "But readiness is not enough. You must prove you can control what the shard reveals. Today is your first test." Jonas's stomach churned. He didn't know what kind of test she meant.
Fighting, magic, a trap? They reached the old courtyard, the same place where the visions had first appeared. Evalora set the box down on the sundial pedestal and gestured for Jonas to place his hands over it. Hesitantly, he obeyed. The runes on the box began to glow brighter, pulsating with the rhythm that matched his heartbeat. A hum filled the courtyard, low, deep, and vibrating through the stone. Jonas felt something stir inside him, a warmth in his chest that spread through his arms and into his fingers. The box's lid trembled beneath his hands. Suddenly, a blinding light erupted, and the courtyard vanished. Jonas found himself in a shadowed version of the manor, the sky above dark and filled with storm clouds. The familiar paths and walls were distorted, almost alive. A figure appeared before him, tall, cloaked in black, face hidden in shadows. Its voice echoed through the twisted courtyard. "You are not ready." Jonas froze. He recognized the voice from the visions. Panic surged through him. The figure raised a hand and the ground beneath Jonas cracked as if swallowing him. "Control your fear," Evalora's voice boomed. But she was nowhere near him. It came from inside the shadowed realm, as if her presence existed in two places at once. Jonas clenched his fists around the box. The shard inside pulsed violently. A wave of light shot out, pushing the shadowy figure back. It shrieked, a sound like shattered glass, and vanished into the darkness. Jonas stumbled, breathing heavily. The light faded, and the courtyard returned to normal. He looked at Evalora, whose calm gaze betrayed nothing of the tension he felt inside. "You see now," she said quietly. "The shard does not just show visions. It reacts to your emotions. Fear, doubt, hesitation. They all empower your enemy. Only control can guide its power." Jonas swallowed hard. He realized how dangerous it was. If he couldn't master his own reactions, the shard could harm him, or worse, attract those who would use it against them. Evalora knelt beside him. "Every morning, the ritual will prepare you, but each test will push you further. You must learn to trust yourself and the shard." Jonas nodded, still shaken but determined. Something inside him had changed. He had glimpsed the shard's true potential, and the first test had shown him that danger was closer than he had imagined. As they returned to the manor, the wind whispered through the trees, carrying a chilling warning. Jonas couldn't shake the feeling that someone, or something, had watched him succeed, and would be coming for the box soon. If you want to see Jonas face the real threat lurking outside Blackthorn Manor, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and comment below. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next, because the shadows are closer than you think, and the next test will be even more dangerous. Jonas thought the morning ritual was just training, until he realized someone outside Blackthorn Manor was watching. And when the hunter arrived, nothing would ever be the same. The sun had barely risen over Blackthorn Manor, but the air was thick with unease. Jonas carried the box with a cautious grip, feeling the shard's faint pulse against his palm. The courtyard, which had seemed peaceful moments ago, now felt alive, almost as if it was warning him of what was coming. Evalora followed silently, her cloak billowing behind her like a shadow. Jonas had trained under her for weeks now, mastering small reactions of the shard, but nothing could have prepared him for what awaited them. A sudden crash echoed from the stables. Jonas froze. The sound wasn't just loud, it carried a deliberate force, like someone testing the manor's defenses. "Stay calm," Evalora whispered, her eyes scanning the tree line. "It has begun." Before Jonas could ask what she meant, a figure emerged from the mist. Tall, cloaked in black, with eyes glinting like polished obsidian. The hunter stepped into the courtyard. Silence fell. The birds, the wind, even the rustling leaves seemed to stop. Jonas felt the shard pulse violently. The box, which had been calm in his hands, vibrated as though warning him. "Jonas," Evalora said quietly, "you must hold it steady. The hunter is drawn to the shard. If he reaches it, everything we've protected will be lost." The hunter's voice was cold and metallic, echoing through the courtyard. "Hand over the boy. The shard belongs to the Shadow King." Jonas's heart raced. Shadow King. He had seen the name in his visions, always shrouded in darkness, always accompanied by chaos. And now, that darkness had taken form, standing right before him. Ebelora stepped forward. "You will not take him," she said firmly, raising her hand. Light flared from the shard, casting long, shimmering shadows across the stones. The hunter laughed, a sound that sent shivers down Jonas's spine. With a swift movement, he raised the blade that seemed to drink the light around it. He moved faster than Jonas could follow and then vanished, only to reappear behind the sundial. Jonas panicked. He raised the box instinctively, and a pulse of golden light shot from it. The hunter was thrown back, hitting the courtyard wall with a heavy thud. Jonas stumbled, nearly dropping the box, but Ebelora caught it just in time. "You did it," she said, her voice a mixture of awe and caution. But this was only a test. The hunter will return, stronger and more prepared. You must learn control, or he will succeed next time. Jonas swallowed, trembling. How do I control it? It's like it has a mind of its own." Ebelora knelt beside him, placing a hand on his shoulder. "It does have a mind, Jonas. A mind tied to yours. The shard responds to your strength, your courage, your fear. Master your fear, and you will master it. Fail, and it will betray you." A cold wind swept through the courtyard. Jonas realized with a sinking feeling that the hunter wasn't just an intruder. He was a shadow of what was coming. Someone who knew more about the shard, about the visions, and about Jonas than he could ever understand. As they returned to the manor, Jonas's thoughts were a whirlwind of fear and determination. The shard had chosen him, trained him, and now it has shown him its first true enemy. But deep down, Jonas knew one thing. This was only the beginning, and the hunter was just the first shadow waiting to strike. If you want to see Jonas face the hunter again and discover the shocking secret behind his true mission, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and comment below. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next, because the danger is only growing, and the next test will push Jonas to his limits. The hunter was relentless, and Blackthorn Manor was no longer safe. Jonas and Lady Ebelora had to escape, but what awaited them in the ancient ruins was far more dangerous than any enemy. The wind howled across the eastern hills, carrying a chill that cut through Jonas's cloak like a knife. Blackthorn Manor, once a place of training and ritual, had become a trap. The hunter's shadow still lingered in the courtyard, a silent threat that could strike at any moment. Ebelora moved swiftly, guiding Jonas along a hidden path behind the estate, a route known only to her. The wooden box containing the shard pulsed softly in Jonas's arms, as if sensing the urgency. "You must focus, Jonas," she said, her voice low and commanding. "The hunter is not just a man. He's an extension of the Shadow King. He knows how to exploit fear. If he catches you unprepared, we'll have no chance." Jonas nodded, though his heart pounded like a war drum. Every step he took was filled with tension, every shadow in the mist seeming to hide another threat. He could feel the shard vibrating against his chest, responding to the hunter's presence. Suddenly, a low growl echoed from the trees. Jonas froze. The light from the shard flared, illuminating the path ahead. Before them stood a figure, or something resembling a figure, but twisted and shadowy, almost as if it had stepped out of his visions. Ebelora raised her hand. "Do not let fear control you," she warned. "The shard's power responds to intent. Focus your mind." Jonas gritted his teeth and stepped forward. The moment his feet touched the stone path leading to the ruins, the shadow recoiled. A golden aura erupted from the box in his hands, illuminating the forest in blinding light. Jonas felt strength surge through him, coursing into his arms, chest, and legs. The shadow hissed and vanished into the mist, leaving only the echoes of its presence. Jonas's pulse raced, but he realized something terrifying. Controlling the shard was exhausting. Every use drained him. Every burst of light left him trembling. Finally, they reached the ruins, remnants of a long-forgotten castle, hidden deep within the forest. Moss-covered walls and collapsed towers surrounded them, creating a labyrinthine refuge. Jonas set the box down carefully, the shard still glowing faintly. "This is where we train next," Evalora said, her eyes scanning the ruins. "And where we hide. The hunter will come again, and next time, he will not be alone." Jonas's eyes widened. "Alone? He has help?" Evalora nodded. "The Shadow King sends his agents in waves, each one stronger than the last. You must be ready. The shard has more power than you realize, Jonas. And soon, you'll need to wield it fully. Not just to defend yourself, but to fight back." As Jonas explored the ruins, he noticed carvings along the walls. Ancient symbols pulsing faintly, almost alive. Each symbol seemed connected to the shard. He traced them with his fingers, feeling the energy hum beneath his touch. "This place, it's like the shard is speaking to me," Jonas whispered. Evalora placed a hand on his shoulder. "It is. The ruins are a key. Here, the shard can show you the past, the future, and the paths you must take. But be warned, the shard will not guide you blindly. You must choose wisely, or the consequences will be catastrophic." As Jonas looked at the shattered stones, the glowing symbols, and the box in his hands, fear, determination, and curiosity battled inside him. He understood now. Escaping the hunter was only the beginning. The shard had more secrets, and the next challenge would demand everything he had. If you want to see Jonas unlock the shard's hidden powers and face the Shadow King's forces, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and comment below. Subscribe now so you don't miss the epic conclusion, because the final battle is coming, and nothing will be the same. Jonas thought he understood the shard's power, but the final revelation would change everything. What the box truly held was beyond imagination, and Lady Evalora's secret would shock him to his core. The ruins were silent, except for the faint hum of the shard in Jonas's hands. Every stone, every carving seemed to pulse with energy, as if the ancient castle itself were alive. The mist swirled around them, hiding dangers Jonas could feel but not see. Evalora knelt beside him, her eyes fixed on the broken altar at the center of the ruins. "This is it," she said quietly. "The last shard. It has waited for you, for centuries." Jonas stared at the altar. The final shard lay there, smaller than the others, yet radiating a light so bright it seemed to pierce the mist itself. His fingers trembled as he reached for it. The moment his hands touched the shard, a surge of energy shot through him. The ruins around him disappeared, replaced with visions, a burning city, armies of shadows, and a figure cloaked in darkness, the Shadow King himself. "You are the guardian," a voice whispered inside Jonas's mind. "Only you can unite the shards and stop the darkness, or fail, and watch the world burn." Jonas gasped and looked at Evalora. She didn't speak, only nodded. "Place it together," she urged him. He brought the shard from the altar to the one in his hands. As soon as they touched, the shards merged, forming a single, radiant gem. A blinding light filled the ruins. Jonas felt the energy flow into him, connecting to his heartbeat, his thoughts, his very soul. Then a memory appeared in the light. Evalora, Not as she was now, but younger, dressed in robes marked with the same runes as the shards. She was standing over him as a child, whispering words he didn't understand at the time. Jonas staggered back. You knew me? Evalora's eyes glistened. Yes. I hid the truth to keep you safe. You are not just a servant. You are the last descendant of the Guardians, the ones who were chosen to protect the shards. From birth, you were destined for this moment. Jonas's mind reeled. Every memory of the manor, every morning ritual, every vision, it all made sense now. He had been prepared for this without knowing it. The shard pulsed in his hand, forming a gauntlet of living light around his arm. This is the power? He whispered. Yes, Evalora said. And now you must face the Shadow King. The shards are complete. You are ready. A chill swept the ruins. The mist condensed into a figure, taller than any man, cloaked in darkness, its eyes burning like coals. The Shadow King had arrived, drawn by the unified power of the shards. Jonas felt fear, but also a surge of determination. He raised his arm, the shard's light forming a shield around him. The Shadow King lunged, and the battle began. Light against darkness, destiny against fate. Evalora stepped back, letting him take the lead. This is your moment, Jonas. Trust yourself. Trust the shard. As the two forces collided, Jonas realized the truth. The shards had never been about power alone. They were about courage, choice, and the will to protect. And now, it was his choice that would decide the fate of the world. If you want to see Jonas's battle with the Shadow King continue and uncover the secrets of the Guardians, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and comment below. Subscribe to the channel now so you don't miss the epic continuation.